I know this well. Reason I ask. I don't, there are many, many days when not being looks like a pretty good deal. But the beingness continues. The difference is that it's just beingness. And I've told you already that I can identify with pain. I'm not some standout guru that knows no sense of pain. I'm just a guy. And that's what it feels like. Of course, I am the divine, but it doesn't feel like I'm divine. It feels like I'm just a guy in pain when I'm noticing that. But when I'm really suffering is when I have a story that I shouldn't be in pain. And where does that story come from? I think, it just comes from our environment. We're all looking for so much. We're looking for pleasure. We're looking for comfort. We're scared to death here on this planet. We got climate warming, we got nukes, we got whatever that is threatening, diseases. We're in a very, very vulnerable situation if we believe we're a body. But your suffering will be in direct measure to your misidentification. You can't not just be here, you are here. You are the here-ness of here. You are here with a capital H-E-R-E. You are the here-ness. That's another way of saying the now, but it's just the direct here. We think that we're experiencing this, and we are experiencing this, but we experience this only because we split into a so-called relative me that's experiencing awakeness objectively. If I can realize, and this is not a realization that one gets and forgets. This is a realization that we come back to. There's the remembering. That's what we're really doing here. We're really remembering who we really are. We're remembering what we really are. We're remembering our true nature. True nature is constantly assailed by imagination. It's the only thing that can assail it. Because true nature is not a being. It's not a state. We don't really know what it is, but we can sense it. It's something beyond, it's something that we can sense beyond the senses. I don't know how to say that, but you just know there's a knowing. When I'm believing that I'm a Fred, there can still be suffering over here. When there's the recognition that there's no Fred, that Fred is an imaginary character that arose from the confluence of conditions and conditioning over decades, or perhaps over millennia, considering DNA. We don't really need rebirth when we've got DNA, because we're constantly in rebirth. The cells change every 7 years or whatever it is that they say, things like that. This all seems stable, but none of it's stable. There's no stability. This is not a curse. This is the greatness of things. Because when I'm not hanging on to one idea, of this is the way things are supposed to be, not like this. If I'm hanging on to the idea that things are supposed to be any way other than the way they are, I'm going to suffer. There will be suffering, would be the best way to put it. There will be suffering, and there will be identification as a Fred who is suffering. When I can let go, who is it that's talking? Just don't worry about it. Just go with it. When I can let go of the damned idea that I am something, then I can notice that I am no thing, but there is consciousness, and it is good. There's no suffering as true nature because there's no argument. True nature is. How can I surrender to my true nature, we ask? But that's seen wrongly. I am true nature, regardless of what I feel that I am. I am true nature itself. How can I better, more fully surrender to this? How can the absolute surrender to the relative today? How far? How fast? The absolute is powerless. There's no power in the relative because there's no body in the relative. The relative is uninhabited by anything but imagination. But there is this truth. Is the truth that by experience, I am. And I was reading something in the past week that I had to look up, and it said, I am that, and I am that I will become. All that I will become. And that was confusing for me because I'm not aware of to come. But I looked it up, and it's really just a relinquishment. It's not a state so much, it's just relinquishing. What am I relinquishing? I'm relinquishing my links to past, present, and future. I am this space, and all those things occur within me. They occur brightly or dimly. They occur lovingly or with hatred. But even that is allowed to be. It has to be allowed because I don't know. And that doesn't matter whether I'm speaking as a unit or a spiritual follower or as divinity itself. Whatever it is that I am powerless. I'm powerless over anything but surrender, and I am powerless in the face of surrender. But I do have influence there, which is the letting go of my ideas. I suffer because I have an argument with the world. It shouldn't be like this. It really shouldn't be like this. I can't possibly tell you how it should be, but I can tell you it should not be like this. That's the argument. It's that nonstop argument. Can I let go of the argument and just be? See, that's where the desire comes in. and takes a wrecking bar to being. Because now I want to be this or that. And I want things to be this way or that way. Relativity. If I can recognize that I am already the non-dual experience, I am the non-dual experience. There's no need for me to look for it. It's to look for it is to miss it. This is it, and this is me. Or if we could say, this is I, we like. But it's the collective I. And collective is just a term. Let's not split hairs. This peace that we feel here right now, if everything is okay right now, just notice that it can be okay right now regardless of the content of this so-called moment. It doesn't mean that the human won't respond in different ways. You know, you could just, I've been, tested twice with electronic machines that shock you, and the response is tracked. I can't not do those. I can't, those responses can't not come. That conditioning is being hit by new conditions. But I don't have to own it. Imagine a huge bubble, the biggest bubble imaginable. Imagine that the universe itself is inside of a bubble. And it feels to you as an advanced being that surely I am the bubble. But as you see everything within that bubble, erase the edges of the bubble. It's only through definition that pain rises. I am this. Identification, definition of the way things should be, the knowledge of how things should be. We don't possess that knowledge. Nothing possesses that knowledge. Awakeness doesn't possess that knowledge. There's no one steering the ship. Here it is, and here's how it goes. How should things be? Look around. How should things feel? Check. Right now. This is how things should feel, whether that's comfortable or some other way. But we're so hung up on comfort for the unit that we can't allow for comfort for the absolute, which is the absence of the war that the absolute declares upon the relative. Because it gets confused and thinks that some part of that relative is true. That there's some circumstance that is true. There's some set of conditions that are true. just had two little packages of conditioning show up and try to take over satsang. I didn't go to war with them. If I had, they'd still be here, but they'd be at the very center of things. I'm not saying that it's a trick that works every time, but I'm saying that there was no resistance. There was a recognition that there was something in the wrong place, according to this unit. And so this unit went about doing what we do, which is to make things fall my way. And we're supposed to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Within relativity, you are constantly constructing it. And you're constructing it to suit what? To suit the conditioning that's there. That's all right. Give it your all. Don't try to relax as a Fred. Stand as awareness. The awareness that you are. This very awareness. And now relax. What would things be like if we just let them alone? There's only this, just as it is, and it's a weightness that simply has to let go of any sense of control or direction. You don't have any power. The power you have is to recognize your powerlessness. That's the only true power.